For today's practice, we're going to do some standing poses. You don't need any particular props. You just need your feet. So you don't even need a yoga mat. So take your socks off, stand on your feet. If you happen to have a couple of yoga blocks nearby or even just a chair, feel free to gather them a little closer, okay? So come on up onto your feet and stand with your feet wherever they are. Notice where they are. If they're way out like this, you might want to take them in a little closer. Let the toes turn to face forward a little more if they're turning way out to the sides, just as long as that's feeling comfortable in your knees and in your hips. And try to keep a little bit of distance between your feet so the feet are about hip distance apart, so you've got a nice stable base. And then just bring the hands together here in front of the heart. And what we're going to do is simply rock up onto the toes. Inhale, lift the arms. And then with the exhale, bring the arms back down and nice and slowly come back to the heels and try to lift and spread your toes, but keep the pads of the feet on the floor. And then again, inhale, lifting up on the toes, arms up. Exhale, floating back down to the heels, lifting and spreading the toes. If working this way in the arms, if it doesn't feel good in the shoulders, you can simply keep the arms by your sides or hands on the hips. As you rock up onto the toes, breathe in. As you rock back to the heels and lift the toes, breathe out. And again. All right, and then this time, maybe just take the hands to the hips and lift up onto the heels, finding some balance on all 10 of your toes. And then what we're gonna do is heel pumps. So just working the calves and the ankles a little bit, dipping the heels down before they get to the ground, bring them back up. And if you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, you take the arms further up as you keep it going. So let's go for one more breath here. And then relax and bring the heels back to the ground. Shake it out in the legs. Okay. And then let's bring the palms together again. Actually, we'll bring the hands to the hips this time. So bring the hands to the hip bones here at the top. You'll feel them sort of protruding out a little bit. And we're going to stand on the right foot. Maybe I'll do the opposite for you guys, okay? So you can follow what I'm doing. So we're standing on the right foot and lifting the left knee. That's it. So as you lift this left knee, try not to lift this same hip up with you. Okay, so see if you can keep that hip down so that the hips stay balanced. And then take your left hand onto your left knee. The right arm can come out to the side. And then try to open that knee out to the side. And of course, you might be a little wobbly. We're working with the balance here. So if you fall out of it, just come back and take it slow. And then see if you can bring this foot to land onto the inner leg, maybe just below the knee. Taking the other arm out to the side to help you out with the balance, so you can see that my knee is pointing out a little bit as I lift and lengthen my spine up. So I'm pushing down through that right foot that's on the floor and lifting the spine, and maybe the arms want to lift as well. The hands can stay apart as wide as it feels best in the shoulders, or you can even bring the hands together overhead. So here, try to stay with the breath and notice where your breath is moving. Moving into the side ribs, into the back ribs. All right, and then take the hands down and step it out. All right, and you might have felt a little bit of burn in that right leg. So just shake it out a little bit, come back into your stance eventually with your feet under the hips again. So this time, hands on the hips again. So you can feel when you lift your right knee this time, you can feel whether your right hip is lifting with it. And you want to keep that from happening, and you want to find a little more of the support here through the belly. So you're actually using a bit of core support here, broadening through the belly. And then with your right hand on the knee, left arm out to the side, you can take this knee out a wee bit, not so much that you're turning your upper body. So try to keep it just in the hip. And then bring the foot onto the inner leg. Arms can go wide, helping you out with some balance. They can stay wide, or you can take the arms again overhead. So, notice how it feels on this leg. Usually we've got a stronger leg. One leg is a little stronger than the other. So just notice how it is on this side, and you might end up feeling that burn in different areas of the leg, maybe the ankle, maybe the calf, and maybe the thigh or the buttock area. So find another full breath here. And then bring the hands down together and step it out. All right, shake that out. Okay, so this is where a couple blocks might come in handy eventually. Actually, may or may not. So have them nearby if you need them. And what we're going to do now is start with the hands on the hips again. But this time, with the feet facing forward, we're going to step the right foot back. So with the left foot forward, right foot back, we're going to keep both feet on the same track. Or sorry, not on the same track. So rather than being on a balance beam with the feet, you want to feel like you're in cross-country skis with your feet, okay? So you want to keep your feet some separation between them from left to right, about hip distance apart, okay? And this stance doesn't have to be huge in terms of front to back, so I'll just give you the side view here. Left foot forward, right foot back, and front knee bent, back leg straight. Okay, so we're going to keep the back leg straight throughout the entire movement, but we're going to straighten and bend the front knee. So just take the hands to the hips, and as you breathe in, try to bring your shoulders right up above the hips, finding some length up the spine. And then as you exhale, straighten your front leg, bring your hips back. So it's like you're pushing your bum back towards the wall behind you. And then as you go forward, you're only going as far forward as you can before you notice that your head goes lower than the shoulders or that you round your back. So you're trying to avoid this. Try to keep the neck long, in line with the rest of the spine, and keep the chest nice and broad, okay? So as you breathe in, we're going to bend that front knee again and lift the upper body up. As you exhale, bend at the hips, straightening that front leg, okay? So inhaling up. Try to keep the back leg firm and strong, straight as you're moving. Breathing in, breathing out. Now let's stay here in this forward bend. And depending on how much, this is stretching in the hamstrings and how this is feeling in the back, you may not have as much range of motion as I do. So you might not be going down as far as I am, which is totally fine. So you might be up here, okay, before you notice that your back wants to round. So stay up as high as you need to keep the back from rounding. We're going to take the arms out to the sides. So as you reach out with the arms, you're going to be strengthening a little more into the back. And you can feel the strength as well in the belly, hugging up and in. So reach the arms wide and even lift them a little bit higher. So you want them to stay at shoulder level. And then let's move the arms with the breath. Let's move them back on the inhale, reaching the fingertips back. Let's move them wide on the exhale. Breathing in, reaching the arms back. Exhale, the arms can go wide, or they can even continue and go forward if that feels good in the neck and the shoulders. Breathing in to stretch the arms back. Exhale to stretch the arms forward. Inhale back. And then let's exhale and fold down. So now we can let the belly come a little closer to the thighs. And this is where blocks come in handy, where you can rest your hands on the blocks And if the blocks are too low, or if you've just got a chair beside you, you can also just use the chair and bring your elbows onto that chair to increase the stretch a little bit. Okay? So find your breath right here for one more cycle. And then find a little bit of a bend in the knees. Bring the hands back to your hips and slowly push into the feet to bring yourself back up. Okay? And then step it together. And you might have noticed a bit of work happening in the glute. You might have noticed some good stretch in the legs. All of that good stuff. Okay? So waking up the legs a little bit here. Okay. So turning the other way. For me, I'll show you the other side. So maybe from the front first. So this time we're going to keep the right foot forward and step the left foot back. All right, so right foot forward, left foot back. Make sure your feet aren't on this same track, and rather your back foot, you want to turn it out, and you want to keep your back toes facing forward, okay? Rather than turning your back toes out to the side, because we want to try to keep both hips facing the front, okay? So that's the most important part of the alignment here. The distance between your front and back foot is up to you, okay? It doesn't have to be a big distance. Hands on the hips, front knee bent, back leg straight. Take a deep breath in. And with your exhale, we're going to straighten this front leg and come forward without rounding the back. So notice as soon as this wants to happen, go just before it does and keep the chest wide, the belly long. So again, bend the front knee, breathing in. Exhale, straighten the front leg, going forward. Inhale, coming up again, bending the front knee, keeping the back leg straight. Exhale, forward. Breathe in, coming up, finding some length through the front, through the spine. Exhaling, moving down. Let's go for one more breath in. Exhale to come down as far as you can from the hips. Try not to move the spine into a rounded curve. Try to keep the chest wide, the neck in line with the shoulders. And then take the arms out again to the sides. And so you can look over to your, to whichever hand you want, and make sure the thumb is in line with the nose. So rather than the arms being back here, bring the arms a little further forward. And do that with the other thumb. Take a peek on it. Okay? So you're strong in the legs, strong in the core. Breathe in, stretch the arms back behind you. You can let the palms turn to face up. And then as you exhale, you let the palms turn to face down, arms wide again. Breathing in, arms back. Exhale, arms wide, or if it's comfortable, if it doesn't bring tension into the neck and shoulders to take the arms forward, let it. Breathe in, back with the arms. Exhale, forward with the arms. Breathe in, stretch back through the fingertips. Exhale, forward. And last inhale to stretch back. And exhale to go down now. So now you can let a bit of a release come into your back. So you can allow a bit of curve to come in. So now it's stretching the back more than strengthening it. And the hands can come to the chair again, or elbows to the chair to go a little lower, or hands on blocks. And you can allow the head to go a wee bit further forward to feel a stretch in the back of the neck here. Okay. Now, slight bend in the knees, really push down through the feet. Take the hands back to the hips and come up with strong legs helping you out. And we'll step it back together. Okay? All right, so that's a good one. You're really going to feel it in the legs and in the feet and the ankles and the hips, different areas for each of us. Okay, so don't be surprised if you feel it a lot. All right, so I just want to take it into a little bit of a wider stance now. So have your feet a little wider apart. I'll kind of show you that at an angle. Excuse me, still getting over a little wee cough. All right, so make sure now your feet at least shoulder width apart, just a tiny bit wider, not a huge width, okay? So keep it comfortable. Turn the toes slightly further out than the heels. So the toes are turned out slightly more, so that as you bend your knees here, you want to make sure your knees are tracking in line with your toes. So rather than your knees going in or your toes pointing in one direction and the knees pointing in a slightly different direction, you want them pointing in the exact same direction. Each knee and toes of that same foot. All right? So here, sitting, kind of like you're sitting down through the hips, straight down, so the bum isn't going back. You're wanting to keep the bum going straight down. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart. So with the knees bent, you want to feel the knees moving away from each other and try to feel the support into the outer edges of the feet just a little more, because we tend to kind of sink in to the inner edges of the feet for most of us. So let's move a bit with the breath here. So we're going to inhale and straighten the legs, lift the arms, maybe look up a little. Exhale, hugging up and in through the belly as you bend the knees again. Hips go straight down, hands come down together. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, moving down. So keep it going at your own pace. I like to go nice and slow so I can feel what's going on with my feet, with my knees, with my hips as I bend, trying to maintain that healthy alignment. You can even peek down and make sure the knees are tracking with the toes. Let's go for one more. And then pause into your squat. Okay, this is like a wide-legged squat, variation of goddess pose, it's called. So we're going to keep this squat, and it doesn't have to be super deep. It can be as deep as you comfortably can hold it. So now we're going to find a bit of movement into the side body. So inhale, arms out. Exhale, go over to the right arm down to the right thigh as you stretch into this left side. Inhale, center. Exhale over to the left as you stretch into the right side. Good, breathing in, breathing out. I'm moving just to so you guys can see a little bit more. Inhale, back open. Exhale, over to the left. Let's go for one more on each side. So if you feel a big burn in the knees, in the legs, just come up a little bit. Don't have to bend as deeply. Inhale, open. Exhale to the left. And then breathe in, come back to center. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. And nice and slowly now, straighten up through the legs. Walk the feet back in. Okay. And then I think just one more, a little bit of a twisting movement for the back. So we're standing in mountain pose, Tadasana. Feet under the hips, hip distance apart basically. And then bring the arms out. We're going to bend the elbows like this. So we've got the elbows bent at 90 degrees. And you want to keep the elbows lifted to shoulder level. Okay? And just notice as you do that if the shoulder blades want to lift up like this. So do your best to keep the shoulder blades down from the ears so that you can maintain some length here in the neck. So take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, we're going to turn to the right. So twist just from the waist up and look over that right shoulder towards your right hand. Inhale back to center. You shouldn't feel any movement in the feet, the ankles, the hips as you turn to the left. So you're moving just from the waist up. The hips are not turning. That's it. And you're just finding a little bit of rotation here through the waist, through the neck as well, letting it turn to face the side you're turning towards. So it's helpful with each inhale, you come back, take the breath in. And with each exhale, you can hug up and in through the belly and find yourself a little deeper into the twist. Inhale, face forward. Let's go for one more on each side. Exhale, turning to the right. Inhale, facing the front. Exhale, hugging in through the belly. Find that slow turn. And then inhale back to center. Release that. Maybe take the feet a little wider. We'll do that lovely, just sort of swing. Okay, so you can keep your feet on the floor. I like to lift my opposite heel so I don't get any torque in the knee. If you notice torque in the knee, lift your opposite heel, the heel you're turning away from. Okay, and just let the arms swing. Lisa was doing this last week with her self-care challenge, and I love this position. I love this movement to help loosen up into the spine and the arms, get the joints moving a little more. So go for a couple more. You can let the head turn with you. You can let the arms hit your sides. And slow it down. Coming back to center.